Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So what we were discussing in the previous class, just I am trying to revise that part. So we started our discussion with the first hypothesis, that we considered that if there are two adiabatic lines, these two adiabatic line cannot intersect each other, because if it intersect each other, if I consider one isothermal line, this will create a cycle, and this cycle will produce some work output, because the area under the curve is basically the work done or the work output during the cycle. And this is not possible because as these two lines are adiabatic, so there are only one line which can, which is basically a isothermal line through which heat transfer can possible. So this is basically violating the Kelvin Planck statement. So from that we concluded that these lines should be always parallel. This was the first assumption. Now next, what we have discussed, that if there are any reversible process, if there are any reversible process, this reversible process can be broken into a combination of three processes. First one is the adiabatic, second one is the isothermal, and the third one is another adiabatic. So we can replace any reversible process by using three processes, and we designed these three processes in such a manner such that the heat transfer during that revised process and the work transfer during that process, they are similar with the previous one. Okay, so this was the Clausius theorem. Next we discussed that if there is a reversible cycle, this reversible cycle can be broken into a summation of Carnot cycles. So these are the Carnot cycles. So how we constructed those Carnot cycle, that we have discussed in the previous class. Now after we decompose this cyclic process into a series of Carnot cycle, what we have done, if I apply the Carnot theorem, we can write down that dq by t equal to dq2 by t. So if I consider the sign of heat transfer, so for each cycle I can write this equation. So if I sum up for all the cycle, finally for a reversible cycle we can write down that the cyclic integral of dq by t equal to 0. This is basically called the Clausius equality. It is basically called the Clausius equality. But one of the assumption of this Clausius equality is that it is valid for only reversible cycle. Is that right? So please remember, this Clausius equality is valid for only reversible cycle. Now next we know that if this cyclic integral of dq by t equal to 0, if I consider one cycle and this cycle is consist of two processes, r1 and r2, so from that we can find out that as this cyclic integral equal to 0, so whatever path you follow, either through the path r1 or through the path r2, the change of dq by t, that is equal. So from that we can conclude that dq by t is basically a property. Is that right? So now you have to understand, it is very interesting that what I'm trying to say, that this point can be connected through several, whatever path you follow, the net change of dq by t, that will be equal, and that is equal to the change of entropy. So whatever you path you follow, question is very interesting. Now process can be anything, can be a very fast process, whatever process it may be. So now the question is that what will be the change of what will be the change of entropy during that process? The question is that if I follow a irreversible path, what is my change of entropy? I'm looking for that answer. Can anyone can comment?
SF minus SI.
SF minus SI, that is okay. That is okay, but my question is that how to calculate that?
Sir, can we replace this irreversible path by some uh, uh, reversible
Exactly.
path?
Exactly. Excellent answer. Very good. So what he is saying that whatever irreversible path is that, I know that as entropy is a point function, it will depend upon the only on the end state. It will not depend upon the path. That I know. But the question is that how you calculate that? What he is suggesting, you forget about the irreversible path. You simply construct a reversible path. You construct a reversible path, you calculate what is the change of dq by t during that process. If you can calculate that dq by t during that process, that will be the change of your entropy. So is that acceptable? Everyone got my point, what I'm trying to say? So just like point function does not depend upon the path, but here you need that path to calculate the value, but that doesn't ensure that you have to follow that path, because it is a path independent process. But if you need to calculate that path, you have to consider one imaginary, suppose I'm trying to say that this is one point, this is suppose Jadavpur University, and this is suppose Godia. So now the question is that what is the minimum distance between Jadavpur University and Godia? Whenever you are talking about the minimum distance, you will be talking about the straight line. But in reality, there is no straight line. It is something like this, there, then there is a bend, then it is going like this, then you are reaching there. So that is the reality. But if you want to calculate this whole thing, you have to follow a reversible path. So you can consider this straight line as a reversible path. But whatever path you follow, the shortest distance does not going to change. Is that right? So now if I go to the next part, so what I know that whatever may be the path, you simply connect a reversible path, and just like what I'm trying to say, that this is the irreversible path. So what you have done, you replace that irreversible path with a reversible path. So you have one actual irreversible path, you replace that path by using a reversible path, and you calculate what is your change of dq by t. Now I told you that I know that temperature is a property, and we already determined that entropy is a property. Whenever you got these two property, I can locate a state. Is that right? So what is that called? What is that hypothesis called?
State postulate.
Excellent. So my state postulate say that if I know these two property, I can use these two property as a axis. So these are my axis. Okay. So now I can use a new diagram, which is basically called the TS diagram. Okay. So by using a TS diagram, I can locate any points. So this is the statement. So initially, in some cases, we have used PV diagram, so P and V, but in some cases, we may need to use TS diagram. So this is equivalent to, so there, if there is a PV diagram locates a point, so there will be a similar point on the TS diagram. Because these two properties are independent, I can locate any point on that diagram. Now, so basically we're talking about that temperature entropy plot. So you see that we know that ds equal to q reversible by T. So what is q reversible? It is basically the integration of TdS. Just simply side, I am changing my side from there to there. So what I can write, that q reversible equal to integration I to f TdS. Is that okay mathematically? Take your time. So if it is adiabatic process, so your ds will be 0. If dq equal to 0, then ds will be equal to 0. So what I can say, adiabatic process means it is isentropic process. Or maybe if I want to say it more clearly, that adiabatic and reversible process can be considered as isentropic process. This is the first statement I am making. And the second statement is that whatever, if I draw any process on the TS diagram, in the TS diagram, what it is saying, that the q reversible equal to integration I to f TdS. What is the physical meaning of this integration?
Area under the curve will be the q reversible.
Exactly. So what I can say, that the area under the curve can be considered as a heat transfer during that reversible process. So similarly, we know this is not known to us. This is already known to us. So already you know that this funda already have used. If you have a PV diagram, in the PV diagram, if this is one point and this is another point, so what was the physical meaning of the area under this diagram? What is called integration?
Work done.
PdV. So it is the PdV. So your work done was integration PdV. Similarly, in the TS diagram, we just now proved that in my TS diagram, if I draw TS, so this is basically the curve. So the area under the curve is nothing but the total heat transfer during the process. So similarly, we have a PV diagram. Now we have a TV diagram. We have a TS diagram. So that is the point I want to make. Is that right? So now what is the benefit of this? Benefit, so this part already known to us. Okay. Now just consider the Carnot cycle, which we have learned earlier. What is Carnot cycle? Carnot cycle is the reversible cycle, which can give you the maximum efficiency. We know that is basically the ideal cycle. This is known to us. So now if I try to convert the PV diagram, into TS diagram, so if I start my process from the point 1, so from point 1 A to B, what is the name of the process?
Reversible isothermal expansion.
Reversible isothermal expansion, or even you can call it as reversible isothermal heat transfer. Basically, you are transferring heat, due to that you are experiencing an expansion. So if it is isothermal, that means temperature is constant. So this process will look like this. So this is the reversible isothermal process. So this curved line, isothermal line, which is following a PV equal to constant kind of feature, if it is following a PV is equal to constant, like a hyperbolic kind of feature, now this become a straight line in the TS diagram. Similarly, the next process, this is the B2C. B2C is basically what is B2C?
Reversible adiabatic expansion.
Reversible adiabatic expansion. Excellent. So if it is adiabatic and reversible, I told you, if it is adiabatic and reversible, what is the change of entropy?
0.
0.
It is 0. Okay, because dq by t equal to 0. So dq equal to 0. So this will become, entropy will become 0. Change of entropy will become 0. So if it is my entropy axis, so entropy change will be 0. So it will be a vertical line. Similarly, just like that, you have a isothermal heat rejection process. So if it is isothermal, so the temperature remain constant, and finally you have this process. This is the isothermal, that is the adiabatic compression. So as it is adiabatic reversible compression, so entropy will remain constant, so it will be like this. So this diagram can be converted into this. Just this is nothing but a rectangle. Is that right? Okay, so this is the importance of TS diagram. So in further applications, we might going to use this TS diagram for plotting different processes. Is it okay up to this much? Is there any problem up to this much? Do you have any questions? Okay, fine. So now next part. This part little bit mathematical, but hopefully you will understand. Just pay attention. So now I will talk about Clausius inequality. So now first we have to understand whatever we discussed previously, we only discussed about the reversible paths. We never discussed about what will happen if the process is irreversible. Whatever we have discussed, whatever we have derived, those are valid for only reversible path and reversible cycle. So now we are going to look into in the real or in the actual processes. Okay, so let's see. So if I consider there is a irreversible cycle and there is a reversible cycle. So just to consider that there is a reversible heat engine and there is a irreversible heat engine. So if you have a reversible heat engine and irreversible heat engine, which one will have highest efficiency? The reversible one. So I can write down that this is the work output and this is the heat input. For a same heat input, the work output of reversible heat engine is highest, so there is a greater than sign. Okay, so if these two values are constant, I can write down that W reversible is greater than W irreversible. Reversible engines are best engines. So what I can finally write down that this WR is nothing but the Q1 minus Q2, and this is Q2 dash minus Q1 minus Q2 dash. So now tell me, if you have a irreversible heat engine, if it is absorb Q1 heat and it is rejecting Q2 dash heat, if it is irreversible heat engine, it will reject more heat. Is it true? Because it will convert less into work. So it will convert less into work and reject more heat. So that is why I can write down that my Q2 dash is greater than Q2. Is it okay, or shall I repeat? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
আরেকবার বলবো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার একবার।
হ্যাঁ, So suppose I have one heat engine. This is absorbing Q1 and this is absorbing Q1. Same amount of heat it is absorbing from the source. If this is reversible heat engine and this is irreversible heat engine, the irreversible one will convert less amount of heat into work, because irreversible heat engine is inefficient. আমাদের যে irreversible heat engine সেটা inefficient, সেটা ভালো কনভার্ট করতে পারে না হিটকে ওয়ার্ককে। ফলে যেটা হয়, যে পরিমাণ হিটটা ছাড়ে তার পরিমাণটা বেশি, so it will reject more and convert less, whereas the reversible one will convert more and reject less. So what I'm trying to say, the rejected heat from the irreversible one is higher than the reversible one. So if I apply the Clausius expression, that what is the value of cyclic integral of dq by t for a irreversible engine. Now I know that if it is reversible, dq by t minus dq by t2, these are equal. That is why you are getting 0. Now here what is happening, q1 is same, q2 is same, t2 is already same. What is happening, initially it was q2, now this q2 will become as q2 dash. Now the value of q2 dash is high. So what will happen due to this subtraction?
Less than 0.
It will be less than 0. Suppose previously you have 5, suppose previously you have 5 by 100. Previously you have 5 by 100 and 10 by, suppose you have like 2.5 by 50. So this is giving you 0. Now this 2.5 will become 3.5 because it is rejecting more. So finally you can show that for any cycle, if it is not reversible, the cyclic integral of dq by t, which was initially 0 for reversible cycle, for irreversible cycle it will become less than equal to 0. Please remember that if it is a irreversible cycle, the dq by t is less than equal to 0. Okay. So I have justified this by using this heat engine funda. So from that we can easily show that if this is 0, if this value got increased, so finally this whole thing will become less than 0. So that is basically called the Clausius inequality. So what I can say, so finally the Clausius equality and the inequality finally can be expressed as like this. Cyclic integral of dq by t is less than equal to 0. What is the meaning of that? If it is 0, it is reversible. If it is less than 0, that means it is irreversible and possible, actual process. But if it is greater than 0, that means it is impossible. It is violating the second law. You mathematically prove that for reversible cycle it is 0. For irreversible cycle it will become less than 0. So finally these two are the possible solution, but it cannot be greater than 0. It will be always either equal to 0. When it is equal to 0, it is called reversible cycle. When it is less than 0, it is called irreversible cycle. But if it is greater than 0, that means it is impossible. It cannot happen. Because I told you that second law always tells you that which is possible and which is not possible. I started our discussion with the thought that if anything is less, my first law will say you that if it is happen, what will be the end state? And the second law will tell you it will happen or not. So this will give you the criteria that if your dq by t is greater than 0, it is not possible. It is not possible. So this is the next part. Any doubt up to this much? Okay. So now the question is that, okay, I know that if it is ds change of entropy, it is dq by t. It is dq by t. What is the meaning of that? The meaning is you have to calculate what is the heat transfer and you have to calculate what is the temperature. So the ratio of that two will change you, that will tell you what is the change of entropy. But the question is that this is valid for reversible process. But if the process is irreversible, what is the value of change of entropy? If it is a process, 1 to 2, I know that if it is reversible or irreversible, the entropy change is same because it is a property. But my question is that during this process, whenever you are following this irreversible process, there will be some heat transfer, there will be some dq irreversible, and there will be some temperature. So my question is that this value is less than this ds or greater than this ds. So what I am trying to say, আমি কি বলতে চাইছি যে dq by t এইটা হচ্ছে আমার রিভার্সিবল প্রসেসের এন্ট্রপি চেঞ্জের সঙ্গে ইকুয়াল, কিন্তু আমি যদি একটা ইররিভার্সিবল প্রসেস ফলো করি সেক্ষেত্রেও কিছু dq by t থাকবে, সেইটা হয়তো এন্ট্রপি চেঞ্জের সঙ্গে ইকুয়াল হবে না। কেন? আমি জানি যে এন্ট্রপি চেঞ্জ মেজার করতে গেলে আমাকে আই হ্যাভ টু কনস্ট্রাক্ট এ রিভার্সিবল পাথ, বাট if I am following a irreversible path, in that case there will be some dq by t. Now the question is that this dq by t is greater than the entropy change or the less than the entropy change. That is the question. So let's see. So if I consider one cycle, this is the cycle, this is the reversible cycle. So which will have two reversible processes, A and B. And there is another cycle, that is irreversible cycle, which is consist of the path A and the path C. Is it okay? Now the question is that, sir, in the irreversible cycle there is a reversible path. That may happen, but if some part of the cycle consists a irreversible path, the whole cycle will become irreversible. Do you got my point? So this A to C is a irreversible path, irreversible cycle, and A to B is a reversible cycle. So now let's look into the A to B reversible cycle. For A to B, for A dq by t, B 2 to 1 dq by t, this is equal to 0. Okay, so if it is 0, if I change the side, I will take this 1 to 2 dq by t equal to minus 2 to 1 dq by t. Now my question is that this, can I say that this is nothing but the S2 minus S1? Can I say this?
Yes, sir.
Because both the paths are reversible and it is connecting the point 1 and 2, so the net change of dq by t is nothing but the delta t, delta s. Now just look into the irreversible path. If I look into the irreversible path, so there will be some entropy change during the path A, and there is some entropy change through the path C. And we know from the Clausius inequality, as this path is irreversible, it is less than 0. So now again I can replace this by this into this equation, and finally it will look like this. So I am using this equation, simply replacing the path A method, path A expression by the path B expression. So finally I can write down that, if I change the side, I can write down that this B dq by t, and this is greater than this. Now tell me, out of these two, which one is entropy? Which one is equal to the entropy change? The left one or the right one?
Left one.
Right one?
No, sir. Right one is
No, sir.
irreversible path.
Very good. So this is nothing but the ds. So I can write down that for any irreversible path, the heat transfer by temperature, this expression is lesser than the entropy change. So if I have to make equal, I need to add some term. This term is called entropy generation. Are you getting my point? So what I'm trying to say is that if you consider a irreversible path, so the entropy change through the irreversible path will be equal to the heat transfer throughout this irreversible path, or the heat transfer by temperature throughout this irreversible path with some unknown quantity. This unknown quantity is called entropy generation. But if you consider, if it is a reversible path, then it will be equal to the heat transfer. So basically I'm trying to say that for a irreversible path, this value is less. That is why you have to add something to make the value equal. Is that right? So this is the happening for irreversible path. So now, so I can write down for any process, the entropy change is equal to the 1 to 2 dq by t, greater than equal to. If it is equal to, what is the meaning of that?
Reversible process.
If it is greater than equal to, it is irreversible process. So I can say that for irreversible process, the dq by t, that value is less. Okay. So now we are entering into the most interesting argument. What is that argument? That if I consider one isolated system, what is the meaning of isolated system? That this system is not absorbing or entering mass into the system, or this system is allowing any heat or work transfer with the surrounding. So it is not interacting with the surrounding. It is basically called the isolated system. If it is an isolated system, then for reversible process, I can write down that the ds equal to 0. So the entropy change is 0. But in that isolated system, if there are processes which are not reversible, those are irreversible, the entropy will increase. So again, please try to understand that if I consider one system, and I know that in this system there is no external heat transfer. If there is no external heat transfer, then I can say this dq by t, this value will be going to 0. So this side will be 0. This side is 0. But your entropy change is greater than this value. So it is greater than 0 if it is irreversible. So now if I consider one isolated system, in the isolated system, there are several processes. Different things are happening inside this isolated system, but it is not absorbing any heat. And entropy of that isolated system, if it is following some reversible process, it will be 0 or remain constant. Otherwise, the entropy will continuously increasing due to this intermediate irreversible processes. So if I try to extend this idea, just like consider that this is your earth and this is the whole universe. So if I consider this is the whole universe, in this whole universe there is no heat and work transfer. So it is the end of the universe. So there is no heat, work and mass kind of transfer. So it is basically an isolated system. So if it is an isolated system, but in this whole system, there are several processes are happening. One particle is moving from there, one planet is moving from this place to this place. There are some small particles, these are moving. Some stars are getting created, some stars are getting destroyed. So several processes are happening. But whatever is happening, externally there is no heat and work transfer, but internally there are several processes happening. During that process there might be heat and work transfer. But if you look into the whole universe, I can say there is no heat transfer. So the dq by t, that value is equal to 0. But as this is not reversible processes, so this value is equal to be 0 because it is an isolated system. But my ds, the entropy change, will be always greater than 0. So that is why we can say that if I have a isolated system, or maybe if I consider the universe, the entropy of the universe is continuously increasing. So that is basically the mathematical derivation of the statement, which you have already listened to this statement in your high school physics. So this is the way I am mathematically deriving that if it is a isolated system, heat transfer equal to 0. But as this term is greater than equal to 0, as this term is greater than equal to 0, what is the meaning of greater than equal to 0? That entropy change in a irreversible path you cannot measure simply calculating dq by t. Entropy change in a irreversible process, you cannot measure simply taking the summation of dq by t. You need some additional thing. Is that right? This is the additional thing. Now I am saying that if it is an isolated system, this main thing goes to 0. So you have only this additional thing, and this additional thing will be always greater than 0. So that is why I can say the entropy of the universe is continuously increasing. So this is the statement. If you have any doubt, I can further clarify. Have you got my point? Is it little heavy? No responses. এটা কি বোঝা গেল?
Yes, sir, understood.
Understood. So you have to read little bit. If you read this part and think about this part, then only you can appreciate the mathematics behind this whole conclusion. The conclusion is very interesting, that the entropy of the universe is increasing. But you have to understand that how mathematically we are proving that the entropy of the universe is increasing. So this statement is very known to us. We are learning this statement from our school days. but now here you are first time getting the mathematical explanation of this statement. So this is the basically the derivation. So one thing in thermodynamics, it is very true that whenever you are reading something independently, it is very difficult to accept. But if you read the previous statement, then only you can accept that. So whatever you are studying, it is basically based on the previous hypothesis. So you are proving something, it is true. If it is true, then it is true. If that, then it is true, then only it is true. So basically there are some series of arguments. So if you try to understand one argument independently, it is very difficult to understand. But if you try to understand the sequence of the argument, like where we started our discussion from there. This is the initiation of the statement. Now hence we prove that, then we prove that if it is true, then we can say that, if it is true, then we can say that, if it is true, then we can see this. So there are series of statements. If this is true, then only that the next one is true. So independently, if we try to understand something, it is very difficult. So you have to understand the connectivity between the logics. So that is the point that I want to mention. Have you got my point, or it is a little bit difficult? Is it okay? Seems okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know that the concept is little bit complicated. So you start to read this part. If you read this part, if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. So in the Saturday we can sit, and if you have any doubt, I will try to clarify those doubts. I want to discuss up to this much only. কারো কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে? কারো কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে?
নো স্যার।
ওকে, ঠিক আছে, তাহলে এই অবধি